sir, with your own eyes. Will you appeal to IMF, World Bank and other countries of Pakistan to waive or reschedule Pakistani loans? To? Pakistani loans.
Reschedule Pakistan.
Reschedule or waive.
I have been demanding very clearly that the world must seriously adopt a program of debt relief for developing countries, including middle-income countries like Pakistan, that are on the verge of an extremely difficult financial situation. In some cases already, we are seeing defaults coming. It is absolutely essential to create new mechanisms. The mechanisms we have today, the suspension that the G20 declared for the least developed country and the so-called framework for that relief simply do not apply to Pakistan or do not work at all. So we need new mechanisms of debt relief. I've been, to give you an example, strongly advocating for what we can call debt swaps. A country, instead of paying the debt to the creditors, using that money to invest in climate resilience, investments in sustainable infrastructure, and in the green transition of their economies. And this is exactly what Pakistan needs. Instead of paying the debt, being able to invest that money in what the country requires. We will go on strongly advocating for these solutions, namely in the meetings that will take place soon of the IMF and World Bank, but also in the G20 summit that will take place before the end of the year.
Your Excellency,
here is Dr. Kamran from Neo TV. I have a question with you.
We take a question from Arab, please, then I'll come back to you. Thank you so much. Arab, please.
Thank you, Secretary. Since I'm flying since morning with you, my question is that how quick UN is going to take action for the relief of health of flood affected people in Pakistan and also for education. You know, it is a very important thing. I mean, it should be started very quickly. And sir, second part is, are you going to attend funeral of Queen Elizabeth? Please.
Let's be clear. I cannot answer how quickly it will be possible to address entirely all the challenges of health caused by the floods. I know the government of Pakistan is making a huge effort. I myself have seen one hospital in action, and I believe the international community needs to scale up very quickly their support. I hope it will be as quickly as possible, and I've been talking to WHO for WHO in the limited capacity that it has to fully support the Pakistani government in relation to that objective.
We'll take one last question, please.
Yes, Mr. Excellency, do you feel that the international community...
Sorry, there was a question that... I have... Sorry, lady, you asked the question. No, it's just to say that I was in Pakistan and I have not yet been able to contact my headquarters to know what my life will be.
Your Excellency, you see how much Pakistan is affected from the floods and the greed of the G20 countries. Do you feel the response is still very poor from the countries from which the Pakistan is paying the price? And also, kindly tell us about this kind of tragedy Pakistan is facing. Pakistan will lag behind in the SDG goals. How the UN and the nations will help Pakistan to achieve these goals with these kind of problems as well?
Well, let's be clear. Not only the G20 countries have not found the financial mechanisms necessary to support developing countries that face the same kind of challenges that Pakistan is facing. Until now it has not happened, and we are going to go on insisting for that to happen. And the G20 countries have also not yet guaranteed that they will be able to reduce their emissions as much as is needed for this kind of disasters not to become worse and worse from year to year. So we have two very clear requests for the G20. A request in relation to finance and a request in relation to reduction of emissions. Naturally, the UN will be doing everything we can, but we are perfectly aware, and we need to be humble when we see a disaster of this dimension. Our capacity is naturally a limited capacity, but whatever we can do is at the entire disposal of Pakistan.
How about the SDG goals Pakistan can achieve it?
It is clear that the SDGs were already moving out of track when the COVID appeared. Then we had the COVID, and now we have the impacts of climate change. It is clear for the SDGs to be able to accelerate in its implementation. It is clear that we need to address some of the worst crises that we face. Energy crisis, food crisis, finance crisis. And that goes back to the same question that was put. Pakistan must have the resources necessary to recover, to rebuild, to reconstruct, and at the same time to implement the policies that the government has decided for the SDGs to be achievable.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.